There is a feature in Illustrator called isolation mode that lets you get into the heart of an illustration, especially when you can't reach certain things. As you can see here, I have a group of objects, and all I did was use the selection tool to drag a boundary around everything here, and I simply went to the object menu and create a group. So let's say I want to edit this text here, which is no longer really text. It's now an outline. And don't worry, I'll talk about how to create outlines from text in the text section of this tutorial. But for now, think of it as the text is now a graphic. Now, if I want to edit this and I want to change the colors, because this is a group, it's hard for me to do that. Because when I click on one thing, I grab everything. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to double click on a part of this text back here. Double click. And you'll notice that if we look up here, we have some new stuff showing up. We have something called layer 1 and a group. So as you can see here, I still have this group of text. But if I want to change this T and I want to get into this group, I'll double click again. And now if you look up here, I'm in another group. So when I went from our original illustration into the layers, into the first group, and into the second group by simply double clicking. And that's called isolation mode. The more I double click, the more I'm able to dive into a group of objects so I can manipulate them. So now that I'm actually in this group here of text, I can take this T, I can move it around, I can change the color, whatever I want to do, and I'll grab this X and I'll change its color, grab the E, and once I'm done, if I want to go backwards, I can click on this guy here and go back a little bit, or I can just go ahead and click on this arrow right here at the left to go all the way back, and now I'm back in my group. So I can move it around, and as you can see, they're all grouped again. This is also very handy when you don't really want to go to the direct selection tool all the time just to change an element. I'll demonstrate that by going to another illustration of my iPad cowboy, and as you can see, here he is. I'm already in one of the layers, so I'll go back to my arrow and go back. So I'm going to zoom in on his boots. With the selection tool, as you can see, when I click on a group of objects, I have everything in one boundary. But what I want to do is I want to get into this red area. Maybe I want to move it over. Maybe I want to delete it. So I'm going to double click. And now I'm inside that group with the selection tool. And I can take this red here and I can change the color. So that's blue. And I'll come over here, double click, and now I'm in this group. I'll change that color. And once I'm done, I'll just click on this arrow a couple times, and I'm back into my illustration. And when I click on it, it's a group again. So the isolation mode is a really handy way to not have to ungroup things all the time. So you can really keep everything grouped and just dive into what you're trying to change, make your changes, and then go back into the illustration.